For this lesson, I want to talk about fixed and changing rate word problems. Now, to get started, there are a couple things that we do when we solve word problems. And the first thing that we do is that we have to define our variable when we are starting a word problem. So we define a variable. So if we look at this problem, it says Dr. McCoy wants to buy a digital camera for $275. She's $35 already, and she wants to save $20 each week. How many weeks will it take her to save enough money? To buy the digital camera? There's a couple things going on. When we say fixed and changing rate, we mean there's a fixed rate, and that means there's an amount already set that does not change at all. That amount is going to be there. But the changing rate means that it's an amount that will change over time, or we call it a variable rate. One quick example of that would be that my gas company, so the natural gas that I have, charges about 48 cents per therm. Okay, it's kind of a funny word, per therm that I use. They also charge $5.95 a month. Okay, now the $5.95 is fixed. Every month I'm going to pay $5.95. No matter how many therms I use, I'm always paying $5.95. The per therm amount changes. 48 cents doesn't change it, but what I multiply by it changes. This month, maybe I used 111 therms. Last month, maybe I'd take 0.48 and I'd multiply it by 50 therms. In the winter, in the summer, I don't use a whole lot of gas at all to heat my home, so maybe I only use 15 therms. So depending on what I multiply 0.48 by, that amount is going to change a lot. However, I always pay $5.95 a month. So that's the fixed amount. The other is the amount that changes. So we talk about defining our variable. If I go back to this problem, this question says, how many weeks will it take Dr. McCoy to save her money? Well, the first thing I want to write is this. X equals the number of weeks. Okay, or you could use W or X or P or something else. This is how many weeks will it take? We don't know. That's our variable. The second step in solving any word problem is to write an equation. Again, I know some of these you can do in your head, but you actually want to write an equation since we are in pre-algebra here. So the way you do it is, for these, your equation is going to be this. You're going to have a fixed amount. Okay. So she wants to get $275. She has $35. The $35 is our fixed amount. She has that amount of money. And then you're going to add, or you're going to subtract the changing amount, or the variable amount, and that's going to equal the total amount that you have. So she's saving $20 every week. So every week we're going to add $20. Now, the way I count for the variable is I'm going to say it's a variable rate or a changing rate, so I'm going to put my X right here. Okay? Oops, where's that X? So $35 she already has, and then she's going to add $20 every month, or every week. So the first week she has 20, the second week she'll have 40, the third week she'll have 60, and so on and so forth. So $35 plus 20x equals our total amount of $275. Now we have our equation, and then the third step in doing this is you want to solve the equation, all right, which seems very obvious. Okay, so the third step, we're going to subtract 35 from both sides. Subtract 35 from both sides, and we'll have 20x equals 240. Now this one works out pretty nicely. We'll divide by 20 on both sides, and so x equals 12. And now my fourth step is to write a sentence with my answer. So we're going to answer the question in a sentence. How many weeks will it take her to save enough money? Dr. McCoy will need to save money 12 weeks. And we love word problems, so we put an exclamation point at the end. Again, we talked about having a fixed rate and a changing rate. And what we're saying is this. She starts out with $35, and every week she adds 20. And then she adds it, and then the next week she's going to add another 20, and then she's going to add 20, and then she's going to add 20. She's going to do that for 12 straight weeks. We'd have to add 20 12 times, and that's going to give her total amount. So the changing rate is this 20x right here because it changes every week. Let's take a look at the second problem. And this one's actually true. On a mission trip to Toronto that I took a couple of years ago, I rented a 12-passenger van for my team. The van cost $1,136.71 for the week, plus an additional 20 cents per kilometer that I drove. If my bill at the end of the week came to $1,207.91, how many kilometers did I drive? So let's define our variable. What's it asking? It says how many kilometers? I don't know. So x equals kilometers. If you want to choose K, that's fine. If you want to choose the first letter of your first name, that's fine too. You have to look, what is the fixed amount and what is the amount that changes in this problem? Well, let's think about it. It costs $11.36 for the week, additional 20 cents per kilometer, see that per, and then my bill at the end of the week came to $12.07. So you've got $11.36, you get 20 cents per kilometer, and you've got that as my total bill. Well, what you should see is that my fixed amount is the $11.36.71. Okay, again, we're going to have a fixed amount, and I'm going to add or subtract the amount that changes. Well, let's think about it. I want to equal a total of $12.07.91 that I paid for the week, so we're going to have to add because it cost me this much just to get the rental car or the van, and then I'm going to add 20 cents every week. Every kilometer. That's why I put 0.20 times x. 0.20 times x, that's the amount that changes. So every kilometer is another 20 cents. We'll subtract 1136.71. Subtract 1136.71. Feel free to use your calculator. So I'll say 1207.91 minus 1136.71. That gives us 71.2. Okay, so we have 0.20x equals 71.2. We'll divide by that on both sides. Again, we use our knowledge of solving these types of equations. Divided by 0.2, and I'm left with 356. There's my answer. I want to write that answer in a complete sentence. It says, how many kilometers did I drive? You would say Mr. A drove 356 kilometers. And then there's our exclamation point again because we enjoyed the problem. Again, all I want you to see is we're taking an amount that is fixed and we are adding to it an amount that changes, or we're going to subtract an amount that changes, and that gives us our total. So there's your quick lesson on fixed and changing rate word problems.